Hey, Bowen.
Hey,
Hey,
mate.
how you doing?
Y'all?
Oh, a little bit frozen.
Doing good.
There we go.
Oh, there we
There's
go.
a windstorm whipping through town right now.
Oh,
There's a hurricane
Slightly terrifying.
12 or 18 or 24 hours ago down in North Carolina. And now it's here.
2020
hopefully-
doesn't stop giving, does it?
Hopefully we don't have any power outages or issues like that. But I also hope my internet connection stays for you.
Yeah, we'll see. So you good otherwise?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, good, things are good. Life is good overall. I've missed some work, missed a lot of people. Obviously, most recently missed the opportunity to go to Pinball again because it was canceled like everything else.
What was that there?
Yeah.
Sorry, the audio dropped out. Was that Pinberg?
Yeah, I can't hear what you're saying either.
Oh, okay.
Let me try reconnecting.
Okay. Yeah.
Sometimes
Cool.
that works.
Nope. Nope. They're coming. Oh my god, they're here. No!
It looks better to me.
Yeah.
Seems better.
Yeah, that looks good.
Awesome. Cool.
We'll see. Who knows? Maybe it'll all get destroyed again.
Yeah. Can you hear us all right?
Yeah, you're fine, and your video is fine too. So I think this is gonna work.
Awesome.
Beautiful.
Cool.
Yeah, so it's certainly a bummer, as you know, not being able to play as much pinball with friends and just stuck. It's interesting to watch how Australia has handled things with everything being stuck and telling people when to do what and what not to do compared to the United States. And I wish I were there some ways.
We wish you were here too, man.
Thanks. I feel like one of the descriptions I sometimes give to people about the United States is that there's really like 10 countries here.
Yeah. Okay.
And to think of like the U.S. as one entity is very loose because people are completely different depending on where they live.
Yeah.
And we can see a lot of that right now because we see some places doing totally different things in their response to being asked to take care of each other.
I know that in some places in the States, the schools have at least tried to reopen, or they have reopened.
Schools are open today and this week.
Wow.
And, the pictures are not pretty.
Yeah.
Particularly, the governor of Georgia has told all of the cities that they cannot enforce any ordinance that requires people to wear a mask. They can suggest people wear a mask, but they're not allowed to tell people not to wear a mask.
Sounds like the devil never left Georgia.
Oh, that was beautiful. That was chef kiss.
And as I have in my first career, I was a high school math teacher, and I just think about how difficult it is to get 2,000 teenagers to do anything, and then to say like, "Oh, you must do this." Yeah, okay, maybe. Like, well, we'd like you to do this, but you don't have to. And I remember how many kids would do like extra assignments. So this amounts to giving extra credit for wearing a mask and trying to take care of one another. It's truly unfortunate because some of them. I hope they don't get sick or die. And there are people who probably will have lifelong difficulties because of what happened.
Yeah, absolutely. I've had to be incredibly cautious. I'm a fairly severe asthmatic, so getting this thing is almost certainly spells the end for me, unfortunately, or at least severe lung damage for the rest of my life.
Yeah, don't do that.
No. We're luckily my employers and just our state in general has been really, really good at at least trying to keep people safe for the most part. So yeah.
Yeah, I believe our borders are shutting to New South Wales and ACT as of Saturday.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Closing off again.
Yeah. Not a dumb move.
No, definitely
No,
not.
it's not. And then the borders between U.S. states have never been closed. None of them. And there's maybe some encouragement if you go from one state to another, you should go lock yourself in a house for 2 weeks. I was like, really? Are we really going to do that? I was like, okay, but we're not going to check. We're not going to follow up on you. We're not going to send police to trace whether you have it or not, or what you're doing. None of that has been happening at all. And these are all the things you would expect from the response to a disease.
Yeah.
To control an outbreak. I mean, there were movies about this. There was outbreak, contagion.
Yeah.
And I just hope I hope it ends, but it doesn't seem like it's anywhere near ending for us in the States compared to how it has been. And Australia and many other countries have handled it brilliantly by comparison.
I think New Zealand really hit the nail.
They led the way with that. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's like, hey, all right, nobody do nothing. 5 weeks, go.
Yeah.
And everybody's like, all right, that's pretty much it. That would have worked here. It really would have.
Yeah, that's I've heard a lot of people say basically, yeah, everyone stay inside for 6 weeks and this thing is done, essentially.
Mm-hmm. They're not wrong. That could still be done.
Yeah.
Still happen now.
Yeah, absolutely.
We just don't want to.
Yeah.
We don't want
to. Got that freedom, yo. Got that freedom.
Yeah. Now, I mean, well, one of my friends was like, so it's been interesting to see the hockey players all go into a bubble and basically just be in a spot where all of them are only around each other, and there's testing, and they make sure they know who has it and who doesn't, and then they create a locked off area. And then he continues, he says, I have an idea. We should do that with everyone, everywhere, in the entire country, and do the same thing the hockey players are doing, and then we probably win.
Yeah, the NHL is like the only professional sports code to not have a single case, right?
Yeah. Right. NBA had some. NHL has had a couple players forcibly suspended because they don't know for sure that they're clear, but they basically are, like Pasternak for the Bruins.
Yeah.
While we're on that topic, Vinny, you want to show? Bowen,
I wore this to gain some cred. My vintage Boston Marathon shirt. There's this great store down in Melbourne. Whenever I'm there, they're like this amazing vintage store, and there's always some sort of Boston sporting paraphernalia there that I grab. Gotten a couple of jerseys and a cool Patrice Bergeron shirt from there as well.
I wonder if their Boston Marathon 2020 shirts will be on sale cheap.
Never released. Never released to the public. Special editions.
Sent to Central America along with all the shirts for the losing team in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, or in any major like finals, right? Like, because they always have, and they always bought like it. It bothered me as a kid. They're like, yeah, cool. They've got the Stanley Cup champions hats ready to go as soon as the game is over. I was like, they've just got thousands of the other ones ready to throw them out, I guess. Like,
yep, and those typically get donated as relief for
that's something
countries
good.
They're suffering from typically a natural disaster, but also it could be any other type.
Yeah, fair enough.
Like here, have all these Tom Brady Patriots jerseys. They're not very valuable anymore.
No one wants them now.
So Bowen, I'll just introduce you for people who don't know who you are, potentially. You are obviously a pinball player. I mean, why are they watching? Who doesn't know who you are?
I'm kidding. There's a lot of people who don't know me. That's totally fine.
But if they're in the pinball scene, there is a very good chance that they know who you are. I've just pulled up the IFPA because the points are still moving, and you're currently 13th in the world at the moment on the IFPA rankings, which is huge. There are thousands of people who have registered for IFPA points and rankings, and you are 13th is just massive.
Lucky 13.
But you're not just an incredible pinball player. You also have a YouTube show, correct? Or a channel, I should say.
Yeah, this is something that we built with Papa, now the Replay Foundation. It's been running since 2011. We first filmed our videos, and I was working in Pittsburgh, going back and forth. I live near Boston, Massachusetts, and Pittsburgh is about 500 miles, 800 kilometers away. And I would work in Pittsburgh about once every 2 months.
Can I just say how great it is that you know the conversion of that? That's fantastic. you say 800 kilometers to some Americans, and they're just like, I have no idea what you're talking about.
Is that all the way across the country? Is it like next door? That's like a football field, right? That's the U.S. measurement, football fields. And then your response, no, a football field is an oval. What are you talking about? We're like, no. What is wrong with you? Football fields don't have 19 players on the side, or what is this garbage? So I started while working in Pittsburgh. I was like, okay, well, Papa had acquired these cameras to show live the championship finals in their events, and I went over there and we're like, okay, well, we could film something. What should we do? And there wasn't really a smart choice here. It was just like, I'll just play the game and talk. How's that sound? All right, fine. Let's go. Let's do it. And over time, we've created more camera angles. We got better equipment. We've gotten just lots and lots of videos. Now I think we're up to maybe 70 tutorials. And there's also a weekly live show called PARtv Live, where they play one or two machines, and players and commentators will talk to each other while they're playing. It's become pretty big, and also I feel like it formed the ground layer for the types of things we're seeing today, from lots of events to having coverage, streamers. The quality of the streamers is amazing, and they've done a lot for us as well in suggesting, like, okay, you could do this as well as this, and put these cameras in this perspective and make something special. So it's all been a really great community effort, and at this point, I get support through Patreon for people to give $1, $5, $10, whatever they can, to support the traveling costs to film the tutorials, because I no longer work there. I just have to pay my own ways and film. And of course, we haven't filmed in a while, but I'm arranging to drive to Pittsburgh, drive the 800 kilometers, and
that's a bit of a trip.
It's a little bit, but
of course, you'll just be isolating in the Papa facility for 2 full weeks.
2 weeks. I'm forcibly going to stay there for 2 weeks. That's what the guidelines say I should do.
That's a good place to isolate, I think.
And yeah, we're always interested in, like, if people have machines they'd like to show, like a lot of the PARtv shows, they take whatever games that there aren't good filming for, and record something using those choices. I know I need to do a Deadpool tutorial. There's a bunch of Stern releases, and I have 2 games from my own company that I've worked on in the meantime, and I suppose I'll have to get to become tutorials as well at some point.
We'll get to those in just a tick, because I definitely do want to talk about the games that you have worked on. But there's one thing that I love from your channel. You mentioned all the different camera angles, and you have one of the best camera angles in the industry, the crotch cam. Where did that come from?
what the crotch sees. It's terrific.
Yeah. So this is something we've been doing for a while. And it's kind of hard. If you just watch the videos, you might not really perceive that this is what's happening. But we do. We have a camera right there at playfield level, pointed forwards to capture the flipper moves, as well as some angles on shots are really nice to see from there. But it also means that I have to take a stance in playing the game that is not my natural playing stance.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I can't touch that camera. If I touch that camera at any point during the filming, everything gets screwed up. So I've kind of learned where it is and what to do and what I can't do. And then you have to, of course, act like nothing is wrong and just play the game like everything is normal. But there are definitely some shake moves and ways I might manipulate the game. I almost never throw the game more than a half inch to either side, because that also screws up the camera from the top down perspective. And that sometimes we hear that sometimes in some of the video comments, like, you could have saved that, or you could have done this, you should have done this instead of this. I'm like, this isn't just a game. I'm not necessarily playing my best right now. I'm trying to explain how to play the game to people who don't know this game. The strategies that you have to use throughout the game kind of build, all right, here's what to do if you're brand new to this, you've never played before. And also, if you only want 5 minutes of watching this video, we've got to teach you something good. The average YouTube view is not 37 minutes.
No, I think I've mentioned this to you in the past. So from Brisbane Pinball Masters 2018, I didn't compete in 2019. There's a couple of trophies just up on my shelf here that I got.
Some high score trophies from 18,
yeah,
right?
yeah, and it was from Barracora, Spider-Man. It was the Vault Edition, but and also The Walking Dead. And those happened to be the 3 first tutorials of yours that I actually watched, because Spider-Man and Walking Dead were at Netherworld, the place where I was working at the time, and I wanted to learn how to blow them up. And then, Barracora was one that just stuck with me, even though I only got to play it a couple of times.
Barracora is a really weird game, but then it has like a really specific strategy too.
Yeah.
So if you walk up to Barracora and the other person doesn't know what they're doing, they're going down.
Actually, the game where I got the high score, gosh, what was it? Someone, oh man, I can't even remember the question he asked, but the guy that I was playing against just came up and was like, how did you do that? I was like, man, go here and watch this tutorial and you'll be good.
One of the coolest things about Barracora that I want to bring into other games if I can, if in the future with Spooky, is they have this bonus count that, I mean, you can activate the bonus count at any time during the game, but the bonus sometimes is so big that, like, you'll be at 400,000, you shoot this one shot and it goes, and you're like, all of a sudden you got 1.1 million, and you get somebody around you, like, what the hell just happened? I
think that actually might have been what it was.
And it's just fun, and it feels really nice. The closest we have to that is what we did in Rick and Morty with the mega seed count off at the end of the balls, where each thing, you can collect as many of these seeds as you want during the game, and each seed represents 5% of the score as bonus for that ball. So if you have a 2 million ball, then each seed is worth 100,000.
That's pretty cool.
I mean, at some point, if you're having a really great ball, you're like, oh crap, I better go get more of these seeds, because each seed is suddenly worth like 400,000. And it works on both sides, because if you have a lot of seeds, you're getting a lot of points, but you could mess up and not have a good ball and then get like 20 times nothing.
Yeah.
Or if you don't have very many seeds and you start doing well, you change your focus. You're like, oh, every seed is 300K. Great, I'll go for that. And you change your strategy on the fly based on how things are going. I think that's worked out really well. But that was inspired by some of the other games that have these enormous bonus counts, where the bonus count can sometimes be worth more than everything else you earned in the game combined. And that does happen. That definitely happens on Morty.
Yeah. I'm glad you brought it up. So this shirt you're wearing, that little logo there, you are a rules rules maker. What's the word? You design the rules.
What's the title?
What's the title?
In a small enough company where you get to make up your own titles, I'm the head of rules and programming. Now that's not fair because I'm not a programmer. I can program, but so far the company has two other programmers who've done a nice job. David Fosma, who I worked with on Alice Cooper's Nightmare Castle, and Eric Pripke, who has done a really fantastic job on Rick and Morty. And he had done other games before. He did Cactus Canyon Continued and some other work in the environment that we're working with is Python P3 rock programming. So he came in basically like an expert on the work we're doing. And he's also a huge Rick and Morty fan. So it's worked out great. Like he was currently working today on the default high score initials for the different adventures. So you have an ego word to get the highest score on Pirates to the Pancreas, for example. And so for each one, we're like, okay, what should the names be for each of these? And so Pirates of the Pancreas default initial is Ruben, which is the name of the dude who you blow up at the end. And each one of them has a thoughtful default name that lines up roughly with either character from that episode or some other reference. Cool. It's been great working with him and the whole team. And it's been interesting also working on a licensed title because even though Alice Cooper Nightmare Castles, there is a license, there's Alice Cooper, but effectively Alice Cooper let us do whatever we wanted to and trusted us to do that. Where it's not to say that we're not trusted by the people we're working with at Adult Swim, but ultimately it's their property. So everything we do has to be sent to them, verified, run back, and they've been really terrific, and they've been excited about the games. It was neat to see Dan Harmon, the creator of one of the two creators of Rick and Morty. He's got his game now, and he posted a short video of him playing the game.
I did see that,
and some kudos for the work. It's like,
that's pretty awesome. I like that a lot.
And to follow up with that, it is the actual voice actors doing the call outs and whatnot?
Oh yeah. You can't get away with that noise. The only exceptions are for like very minor voice notes, but for main characters, the main character work is all done by Justin Roiland. And there may be other people from the cast. I can't necessarily announce some of that because some of that is still in progress and maybe in nearby future versions of the game. But we got Justin Roiland to record hundreds of lines, and most of them were in our script. Many of them were his own versions of those lines, or just some other thing he felt like saying.
Of course.
One really funny note is that we have a bunch of different skill shots in the game. There's a skill shot, there's a super skill shot, and then you can also shoot a loop shot that multiplies the skill shot. So there's a double skill shot, there's a double super skill shot, there's a triple skill shot, there's a triple super skill shot. Now you write multiple lines for each of these, and you hand them off to the voice of Rick and Morty to record all of the lines. And he does them really well. But every so often he'll go in like, so there's another skill shot. Yep, there's another skill shot. Oh man, this is so important.
I would probably give an arm and a leg. Well, probably a leg, sending my arm for pinball, just to have been a fly on the wall in that recording session. Were you there for that?
No, I wasn't there for that, unfortunately. But I think that if the more that people go to that thing, the worse it gets in terms of like getting the right amount of work in the right amount of time. And time is such a commodity for people like him that to get his time and attention for as long as we did is really remarkable. Like, what is this for? It's for a new TV? No. This is a pinball machine.
I didn't think we'd started the new season yet. No, we haven't. It's fine.
And you do have to. He gets paid for this work. It's not like it's not. He gets paid for that work. He gets a pinball machine, Things do happen. It's not like this is all being done for free. It's part of the license. But you don't want to monopolize somebody's time like that or make them feel like it was used incorrectly, or worse, you show up and you're like, oh my god, it's you, and you're like, all right, just stop wasting my time, I'm gonna record this.
Yeah, so all I have to do to get a free pinball machine is create and voice an incredibly famous and popular cartoon.
Sure. Is that you? Are you Bojack? No, that's oh, that's Will Arnett. I'm sorry. That's not.
That would be.
Is there a Bojack pinball machine coming?
Oh, I can't speak to any future license.
But you didn't deny it, so.
Oh, I can't. If I deny future licenses, then people are just like, "How about this? How about this? How about this? What about Back to the Future?" Like, well, they already did that one.
What an incredibly depressing machine a BoJack Horseman machine would be, though. There would be no exciting call out to that. You'd have to just have
You would have as you start the game, you would have to set which season it is.
Oh yeah, of course.
There's just a general different level of malaise and depression depending on what season it is.
One thing I wanted to ask with Rick and Morty was, especially when you have like a licensed title like this, and it, especially around a TV show, a lot of pinball machines I've seen come out when the show's about halfway through. Stranger Things is already out. Game of Thrones came out after season 3 or 4 or something, which really was at the height of its popular season 5. Thank you. I think
that's why Game of Thrones. They had references. One of the cool things that Stern Game of Thrones did is Stern had references to things that hadn't happened yet. So particularly the Lord of Light and the heavy. I mean, you knew there was a wall. You knew there was a war coming with the snow people, whatever the hell it was. But the particulars of that war were something that they could then know by being part of that license. And so with Rick and Morty, we got the Rick and Morty license between seasons 3 and 4, and season 4 was already being drawn and animated at the time that our license came through. And so the artist we work for was brought through by Adult Swim as one of their recommended artists. And if you look in the artwork for the game, it included multiple references to season 4. So we've been upgraded. So some of the references to season 4, I wish I could walk over to the game and I could just point to them. Yeah. But there's a cat on the playfield. It's the cat that talks to Jerry. There's a space snake on the back glass. The most prominent one probably is that on the right side panel where there's Rick. Rick is for no reason at all holding a ladle of acid.
Okay, yeah. That's awesome.
Acid is my favorite episode so far.
What's amazing about all this is that there's a huge layer of trust on their part, on Adult Swim's part, to let that artwork into the wild, because this game was released before any of those season 4 episodes aired. Yeah. So you see this artwork, you're like, what the fuck? There's a snake up there. Why is there a snake? Where's the snake? And then suddenly a snake appears in episode 5. Yeah. And even the very last episode of season 4 has a bit with Bird Person becoming Phoenix Person, and there's a battle. There's a part on the right side panel of Bird Person transforming into Phoenix Person, and at the flip it just looks like, all right, it's just something that's happening, but it was a reference to a future episode. Now, I don't think there are any season 5 references, but if there are, I don't even know them. They didn't tell us about any of this. They just made their artwork and said, you should use this. Okay. And we're like, all right, we'll use that. So it was news to us as well as anyone else when those things happen in the episodes, and we can go like, oh shit, that's that thing.
So is that possibly an opportunity that Spooky might have down the line, when season 5 is released, that like modes and rules and that kind of stuff could include things from season 5, or is that done with the license? Or
we are able to make more more adventures and more dimensions, basically at our whim. But all of the oversight, of course, is from their side. So we can
cool.
say to them, like, we'd like to do an adventure based on the Vat of Acid episode.
Yeah.
And they can say, sure, that sounds great. What do you got? Or they can say, no, thanks. But they have approval on all that. But we have definitely some ideas of the things we want to do. So that's one of the differences between, I think, with our license and, say, like, for example, Stranger Things. All the stuff in Stranger Things is season 1, season 2, because that was what their license was for. They did not get a season 3 license. We don't have any of those restrictions. At least not that I know. I mean, somebody probably come down to me and go like, "Hey, you can't say that." But I know that we have the flexibility to say, well, what would we like to do next? And that also led us to make some of the decisions we made about the way that the game presents itself. So in the center panel, there's a Morty stamp card, which in the TV show, if you fill up a stamp card, you get to choose the event next adventure every 10th adventure. What we also knew before we even started was that whatever number of adventures we put in the game would eventually be expanded.
Yeah.
And then hopefully expanded again and expanded again. We've already expanded. We're going to expand again for sure. And there are plans for further expansions. But now, if your playfield says these are the adventures, you're stuck. You can't make more. You have only that many lights. And that means abandoning the lights altogether and going to a different structure for the way adventures are doled out and for the way they appear on the playfield. And so that's why we created the adventure card as the center structure. And it also led us to use the way the show operates for the way the adventures are handed out. So you play as Morty. If you shoot the shot that says start adventure, well, you don't have any control of what happens next because you're Morty.
Okay. Yeah.
Rick is the one in control, and Rick is going to take you on an adventure. But when you fill up your adventure card and you get to the 10th stamp, now you're in control and you can choose any of the adventures that the game offers, as well as some adventures that are only available during that time. And we haven't released any of those yet, but we are working on them. So like Morty's going to pick his own adventure. He's not just necessarily going to pick the ones that are Rick's choices. He might pick something else.
Yeah,
that's really cool. Yeah, I like how it reflects the show in that way and sort of holds true to what the creators have done as well.
And I think that there are plenty of examples of other games where using a license really well can work that way. So a great example, 2 great examples I can think of. One is the Gollum multi-ball on Lord of the Rings, where Gollum is good and bad, and it doubles the score for a while, and then it halves the score for a while, and he keeps wobbling back and forth between those. And then there's the houses in Game of Thrones, where you have some advantages and disadvantages to each choice, and you pick which one you want to go with at the beginning of the game. So I think that for license themes, if in the future, if there are any others, I would choose to look at the license and say, okay, well, what does the license offer us the opportunity to do, and what kinds of things happen in this license that we could then bring into the game. I think that's what happens to some extent on every license, but that making that a central focus of what the rules should be makes the game more immersive and makes the game more understandable for someone who's never played before. You can step up and the game starts yelling at you. It's always Rick yelling at you. Anytime Morty might be encouraging you, but that's why we have the other Mortys. So you can be like Tree Morty or Purple Morty or Ghost Morty. So you're never the real Morty, because the real Morty will be part of the adventures and part of the feedback that the game is giving you.
So with that, so obviously you're one of those players that has just such a huge, extensive knowledge of rules in so many machines. Was that did Spooky come to you because of that? or did you approach Spooky and say, hey, I'd really like to be writing rules for these things, or
I didn't want any of this. But no, I didn't want any of this. I never thought that I would be able to work for them or any pinball company because I'm not literally there in Wisconsin or in Chicago. So when I got the chance to play Total Nuclear Annihilation for the first time, this is in like January 2018, 2017? I can't remember.
I think it might have been 2017. I don't remember either.
I don't know.
Around that.
Yeah, I want to say it was January 2018 that I finally got to play it. It had been out and about.
Yeah, okay.
I got to play the game, and I was like, okay, this game's incredible. This game is absolutely mind-blowingly great.
Yeah.
And I would drive 2 or 3 hours to play it because it was that good. Eventually, I got to be the first person to beat Reactor 9 on it. Did that February 6th, 18? I don't remember. It was one of those. I know the date, but I don't know the year. Stupid.
What even is time anymore?
Around that time, I started contacting Spooky, and I just said to them, like, hey, this game is amazing, and more people should know about this. What can I do to help you promote this game?
That's really cool.
And maybe inside, I was like, oh, maybe I can get a discount on one, buy one. And they said, okay, well, what we really need is we need someone to help with our rules and structure for games, because we've been making some games, our own games, like Rob Zombie and America's Most Haunted, and they have a very good eye for playfield and geometry and interesting, unusual shot making, and the games are clever, but they hadn't been very balanced in their scoring, and they hadn't been thoughtfully put together in that sense, just because that wasn't really their focus. And he said, okay, well, when you're gonna come to Texas Pinball Fest this year, we'll meet up there, we'll talk it over. And we meet up at Texas Pinball Fest and say, okay, we're hiring you and we're announcing it in 2 hours. Hope that's okay.
Easiest job you ever got.
All right, what is this? This is not what this is what I signed up for, but this is not what I expected to happen. And then I had a seminar where I played TNA. And I watched that live. That was impressive. Reactor 9. A little cheaply. I set the game for 5 balls and didn't tell anybody about it. But it ended up getting played for crowd that way, and it was a really good seminar. And then immediately Charlie came up and announced, okay, here we're hiring this person, and by the way, he's going to be working on the rules for Alice Cooper, and we're revealing Alice Cooper right now. Here you go. Oh, and there's two playable Alice Coopers back there in our booth. Come see our booth. Bye.
That's cool.
That's like a huge mic drop moment. Like, oh yeah, this guy that just blew up the 9th reactor is going to design rules for our games. Which, by the way, we've got 2 of the new ones. See us.
Right. So it was interesting then to take a game that was halfway done. Like, all the playfield was already built, the lamps on the playfield were already built. A lot of the choices and the rules were already in and on the stamped playfield, so it wasn't changeable. Including, for example, there's a target on the game that says "Hurry up when lit." And I'm like, okay, what is? Like, all right, so what does this do? What did you have in mind here? And they're like, meh.
It's a hurry up. Pinball machines have a hurry up.
We had to put something there, so we decided to label it as a hurry up. I'm like, okay. That means I have to build rules around to make that hurry up meaningful and interesting.
Yeah.
And that was so a lot of the structure of the rules for Alice Cooper had to be built around those limitations, as well as taking advantage of the things that had already been built by the team before that, which were smart and clever. There were some great ideas in there, and just had to take those ideas and run with it to create something coherent.
Thanks for all that, man. That's so cool. Like, I'm real excited to play a Rick and Morty. I know that Netherworld has one on the way. Hopefully when, everything goes, opens up back to normal. We actually were back to the Prison Pinball Club for about 3 weeks, and then we got a couple of extra cases in Queensland, so we're back to nothing.
No more standing up in bars. You can go to the bar, but you can't stand up. You have to sit down and drink, and that's it. That's all you can do.
Okay, so here's what it's like in this part of the United States for that. Bars are not allowed to serve you at the bar.
We had
so you to order a drink, you walk over to some other place and you order the drink at that other place. Then you walk back to the bar and wait. And then someone will come to you and say, okay, your drink is ready. And then you walk away again to go get the drink. And then you can drink it wherever you choose, which generally means you go to the bar and drink it there.
Okay.
Oh, cool. That's not convoluted at all.
No.
No, and given the target of having fewer people encountering each other as little as possible, that doesn't seem to be actually seems to be antithetical to
walk around as much as you can.
What it actually is, I mean, none of those are the real rules, but those are the workarounds that people come up with. They're like, so can we do this?
Okay.
And all of those can we do this are just like, how do we violate the spirit of the rules while technically obeying the minimum necessary for us to achieve them?
So whereas here we have you violated the rules. Here's a fine of a couple of $1,000s from liquor licensing. It's pretty. It's like they're clamping down on them, and it's good. It's what has to happen.
And like what you're saying, like they're shutting it down again because they found a couple of cases, and it's just like, I don't even have a visual of that. Hundreds of people in my town, just my town, have gotten the coronavirus. Dozens of people have died in my town.
We are seeing down south in Victoria in particular, they've had a couple thousand new cases over the last couple of weeks. It's that second wave kind of going, and the rest of the country kind of went, all right, well, let's contain that. That's why borders got locked back down and all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm. It'll work. Yeah, and then hopefully places can open up again. We've lost 2 pinball bars in Massachusetts outright.
That's unfortunate.
That have just had to close completely. One was a place I've played pinball for over 20 years, off and on, because they've had some okay games, and then it got taken over by some really good locals, Mitch and Mike, who run great games. And that was the play. Have you ever seen the Moonwalking Dead version, the Walking Dead, where they took out? Oh, you got a treat ahead of you. It's the Moonwalking Dead. So Mitch Curtis, who's an operator in the Boston area, he took a Walking Dead and he replaced everything he could with Michael Jackson stuff. So all the music.
Or...
Oh yeah, no, it's not. Yeah, it's Thriller Michael Jackson. It's not
That's
like
awesome.
Michael Jackson. It's got to be zombie Michael Jackson.
Yeah,
obviously.
So he has replaced the West Walker with a figurine of Michael Jackson zombified from Thriller. I don't even know where it came from, but it's
so cool.
It's amazing. And then all the music is changed too. So you get into like different modes. Will be like I think Bicycle Girl is PYT, Pretty Young Thing, and every different mode in the game, and every multi-ball has an appropriate
really cool.
One of them is black or white, I forget which. It's just all over the place. So good. And hopefully I get to play that again, but it's that whole place got Flat Top Johnny's is closing because they just don't have any business, and they can't keep their lease. So yeah, we don't have any of that protection either. Like people are losing their businesses.
Yeah,
because they're making no revenue, and then they ask for rent, and they're like, "Yeah, I can't pay your rent. I don't have any money." And like, okay, bye.
I don't understand the point of that, because it's not like the landlord is going to be able to find someone else to fill the space because no one's making any money. You might as well just hold out, wait until they can open up again, and boom, there's your revenue back.
In some cases, these are people who like they see an opportunity for revenue in an area. Like they'll see, okay, if I could get some biotech company into this space,
Yeah, okay.
give them the rent for hire, but I wouldn't be able to do that unless I get rid of the current tenant. Mm-hmm. But you're right, it's not good for anybody.
No.
Moon Walking Dead. There's a video. It's great.
I'll check it out. I will literally check that out right after this. That sounds fantastic.
He also did Metallic Prince.
Metallic Prince. Right.
That's awesome.
That is really cool. So I want to talk about BPAC a little bit. As we've mentioned, you have this Papa Pinball YouTube. You do a bunch of tutorials. Vinny said that, it helped him get a whole bunch of high scores in those trophies behind you there. It helped me leading up to BPAC. I didn't get to play last year, but in a lot of the competitions, if ever there's a machine that I know is going to be there and I'm unfamiliar with, I watch your YouTube tutorials and I find that my score doubles, if not triples. My girlfriend watches them as well. And when you were there at BPAC, there were so many legends at BPAC last year. But I think, not to, everyone was great, but you were actually probably my favorite and the person I was potentially most excited to meet in person. And you were so nice. You were such a lovely person. And even my girlfriend, who, had been watching your tutorials to warm up for the Queensland Championship, was just like taken aback by how awesome and cool you were, man. How was your BPAC experience?
Oh, it was a dream. I mean, I always wanted to go to Australia, and I thought maybe sometime in my life I'll get to go. And Jimmy Nails came along with this offer to come out, and I'm like, I cannot say no to this. I'm going. I don't care. I had to move hell on earth to make this happen. I'm absolutely going. And a couple of things struck me is one that the sort of casual and fun level of play in Australia is very visible. It's dominant. There's so many times I come to go to a US event, most people are great, and then there's like some people who are just really hyper competitive. I found that I was the hyper competitive one in general at BPAC, even though I kept getting beat by these freaking teenagers. Jimmy told me I could come down and beat up on Australian people, and I did that, and I still lost. This is not fair. This is really not how it should have gone. But it was also very cool to meet people who had already had an experience. I was like friends who vaguely knew me that I just didn't know them yet, and it made it a lot easier and quicker to get along with someone and to really feel welcomed and comfortable. Like that's how I felt the whole time. I just felt like I was welcomed as family, and I'm so grateful for everyone who was part of that. And it's a risk for someone like for Jimmy and the BPAC crew to spend money on. I don't know that. I mean, it's not like they made that money back. That was a gift. That was just a true gift. And I will never forget. I want to come back. I was trying to come back for this year, and something happened.
Not sure what it was.
And I'm hopeful that it comes again. It was also just a spectacle to be at the ECA.
Yeah.
Man, I did not know what to expect. I was like, oh, I'll be at this thing as ECA. It's kind of like this. I'm like, all right, so it's like a county fair or something. Okay. And it was this freaking enormous thing that I'm like, wait, so they've got buildings that this is all they do? This building is just here for this purpose for the entire year? There's no other thing that happens here. This is just ECA land down here in this corner of the map.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
They do hire it out for it used to be a great spot for music festivals and stuff when there are a couple of festivals that don't exist anymore. But yeah, there's very little that happens there throughout the year. It's with the exception of ECA, like that's kind of it.
Yeah, it was also the most I've ever seen of show horse jumping.
Yeah.
And I kind of love horse jumping. Like I watch equestrian in the Olympics anytime it's on, and they were like, oh, people are gonna jump. I'm like, oh, I gotta watch this, and it did not disappoint at all. Especially you see like these little tiny kids on big horses jumping high. Oh my god.
Yeah, they start them young.
For those who couldn't make it to BPAC, our where we were playing the pinball and our building was actually right near the stables. Did you go over and interact with any of the horses? Yeah.
I smelled the horses. Definitely, depending on how you were walking, if you walked out that direction, you were pretty much going to encounter a horse or some other animal, and that's cool. It was definitely not something I ever expected to play pinball that close to horses. That's all right though. I played pinball that close to cows before.
Okay.
IFPA World Championship has been held in a couple of different barns over the years. A barn in Minneapolis, but I'm thinking more of the barn in near London, and it's like it was just out in the woods, and there was a farm with a bunch of cows, and then a barn that had 50 pinball machines in it.
That's kind of awesome. You make space where you can, right?
Yeah, boy, it was such a treat. And of course, I don't have an event to share with you other than something like Pinburg, but if you ever, you are always so welcome here. If you want to get led around the place that we killed all those people 300 years ago, Salem, Massachusetts. We have made an entire industry now out of the murder of our forefathers.
Yeah. Okay.
Vinny, did you have any questions you wanted to?
No, really. This just been really pleasant talking to you again, man. Like,
it's good to see you both.
Yeah, you were saying earlier that it was cool to come to BPAC and sort of meet all these people that you kind of knew. And it was just like, that was a really cool experience for me, to actually see you play and to get some tips from you and that kind of stuff as well in real life. Jessica Livinato had been singing your praises for a long time. I think BPAC was her third or fourth trip to Australia, in only a couple of years. And yeah, I think she was really, really excited that you were actually there to meet us. And it was just a really cool experience to actually play games with you, even if you did, slap me about.
Everybody gets slapped about. That's how you get better.
Yeah, exactly. Or you just stop playing and sit in the commentary booth, and that's it. That's what I do now. So
it's one of the weird parts about this that I never thought of when we started doing the videos, is that I did not expect there to be nearly as many people that watch them as do. And so if I go to something like BPAC, I get to meet 50 or 100 people that have all recognized my voice or my face, or they know me. And it's weird and great at the same time, because normally if I went to something like this, I would be pretty introspective, and I tend to be antisocial, which doesn't come off that way sometimes now, but I think that's partially this has moved me forward on that, because now that I have a really nice way of getting to know people at some base level, and then starting from there. So I've been very lucky in that regard. But then every so often somebody's like, "Well, I recognize that voice. Who's that?" And I'm like, "This is weird."
I think one of my favorite parts was getting to see Cranky Bowen a couple of times in the finals. That was actually pretty great. And then go, oh wait, he is human. Cool, we're good.
If I can add to that, when I watch the tutorials, there does seem to be a couple of times where maybe you miss a shot or something, and I think you want to say something, but you managed to release yourself and sort of bring it back down and be like, oh, we're filming. It was kind of nice to see, as Vinny said, the human side of you.
Yeah, I wasn't in the best headspace on that trip, unfortunately. So I did have a couple times where I was kind of off when really should have been like, just accept your losses, man. Just lose with grace instead of being an asshole about it.
Oh, I don't think you were.
And hopefully that I thought I was being an asshole.
No. I mean, it looked like you were having a lot of fun. I saw you there with your headphones in and you were dancing around and stuff. It looked like you were having a real good time.
Yeah, that's a lot of the headphones work is to try and change my mindset. I'm in a really shitty mindset outside of playing, and I get to playing. I can either carry that mindset with me or get pulled into the game. And if that's not happening, I start playing music that tries to pull me into the game. I have a playlist that's purpose is to just be those kinds of songs that pull you in and make you dance.
All right, I've got to ask just for a couple of the songs. Yeah, come on, what's the secret playlist contain?
All right, well let's see what the play. There's the playlist. There are two playlists that are primarily used. They're called super downers and super uppers. It depends on where your energy level is. If you're too cranked up and you're about to play an EM, you're going to lose.
Yep.
If you're about to play Shadow and your energy level is down here, you're also going to lose. So the playlists are designed to change my energy level to move in. The super uppers are better, not better songs, but they're more interesting selections. The super downers are just kind of like, oh, okay, that's a boring ass song, like Golden Slumbers, for example. Yeah, all right, boring ass song.
So what you're saying is, if I want to get better at pinball, I need to take uppers and downers.
Yes, that's absolutely correct. But you definitely do need to attend to where your mindset is and where your speed is, because you have to basically bring your energy level to match what the game needs for you to succeed. So an example, like Addams Family. You might think Addams Family is a game where you're like, okay, there's fast reaction times. I can lose the ball real quick, but it's actually not. It's all about precision and slowing the game down, getting control, making one shot, getting control, making one shot. It's not really a flow game like Spider-Man is or like Shadow is. So if I'm going up to play that game, I'm going to play the Downers playlist. Okay. Or usually I'll pick up one song. So let's see. Do you want the good songs, the bad songs? Do you want the weird songs? Probably that's the ones you want.
The weird songs are always interesting.
Yeah, I like weird songs.
The one that I keep going back to is "Whip It" by Devo.
Yeah.
Because it's repetitive and it doesn't really. You can do something else while it's going on, but it also kind of keeps you in motion. And there's kind of classics like well, actually, are they classics? I don't know. Anyway. The dumb ones, the dumb one that I use the most is a song called "Scotty Doesn't Know."
Yeah.
Which is either a no recognition at all or a ha ha ha. There's no in betweens with anybody. It's like, oh yeah, that's an okay song.
There's a pop punk / emo bar here in Brisbane called The Bright Side, and I'm pretty sure they're contractually obligated to play that song like 5 times a night.
Is it run by Mr. Brightside? Because that's also on this list. The dumbest ones are boy, is that dumb? Yeah, that's kind of dumb. The song called 3 is a Magic Number by Blind Melon. It's based on a Schoolhouse Rock song called 3 is a Magic Number, which was intended to teach people how to multiply by 3. And I use it that if it's ball 3 and you're sucking, 3 is a magic number. There you go. Now you just know that this can be the turn. More recently, I've just decided that every ball is ball 3 because I play ball 3 better than I play the other balls. And so just go up and play like it's ball 3 every ball. And who cares what ball number it really is? The other weird, terrible song is a song called "I Gotta Believe" by PARtv the Rapper.
Oh wow! Wow. Oh man, it's just gonna play in my head. I don't think it's that song, but just gonna have Kick Punch. It's all in the mind playing over in my head.
Oh, I have that too. I have that too, but it's not in that directory. Yeah, I have that one too, and the Mussolini song. But yeah, I basically it's any song that makes you go like, all right, we got this. Let's go.
Yeah,
And then
yeah.
whatever you were thinking about before, whether you were angry at something or someone, it's gone. Hopefully it's gone until you drain, and then you go right back in the ditch again.
It's like our the Flip Frenzies that we have here. The guy that sort of runs all the scoring and stuff, Scott. He has a wonderful collection of like super high energy, take risks kind of songs.
Those songs are outstanding. The Flip Frenzy at BPAC was absolutely outstanding.
I think one of those he just played the Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2 soundtrack for the entire time. Actually,
that's a good time right there playing that soundtrack.
Yeah, and it keeps you moving and it keeps you playing. It definitely does. It keeps you playing quickly, which in a Flip Frenzy is kind of the thing. You've got to hit the like sort of high risk, high reward shots as quickly as you can. If you don't, you lose the game and you move on to the next one, kind of thing.
Yep. And that was a great tournament. That was my first ever Flip Frenzy.
Okay, cool.
And then it was won in that very final game. I lost the final game that helped the champion take the title there.
There was a lot of times where we we're just looking up for the commentary booth or like looking at the scores online and stuff and going, okay, and no, it's still Escher at the top there. Okay, we'll keep going.
I think he blew us all away, Colin and Escher.
Yeah, absolutely.
I didn't know who they were leading up to it. I'd never heard of them. And just watching these 17-year-olds, I know Colin was 17 when he was playing last year, just wipe the floor with the Australian competitors was phenomenal. Have you played him before BPAC?
Oh, sure. There's a nice video of me losing the World Championship final to him on skateball.
Okay.
So when he won Papa 20, the last Papa World Championship, he's an outstanding player. He's gotten even better. He was, I think, 14, 15 when he won the championship. I don't recall, but
wow,
he continues to grow in skill, and it's remarkable. His strategy is really good. His patience is outstanding, and his choices about nudging and control, like just right. You see him, and you see Colin, and you're like, okay, this is another level, and I can hang with them sometimes. But not all the time anymore, and they're outstanding. There's so many really great teenagers and college students now out in pinball in the U.S. who are kicking some ass, and they're still the old guys. we're still hanging in there. Sometimes I lose to Keith Elwin instead of losing to Escher. But my very last tournament, most recent one I played, I finished second, and the winner was Escher.
Yeah, okay.
Like old times.
There were two very different reactions to having Colin and Escher, and of course yourself at BPAC. There were the guys that went, "Well, what's the point?" And then there were the other players that went, "All right, cool. So this is the level that the rest of the world is on. We're really competitive and good, like amongst ourselves, but we need to get to that next level." And there's a couple of players that I've noticed, in the years since that competition that have just put so much more time and effort. And you see them posting their high scores on Instagram and going, "Oh, okay, you know what? They're approaching that level now." It's really, really cool to see.
It's so good, and that's I think it's one of the reasons to have done something to have an event like that, and that was a stepping stone, and that's something that will improve a lot of players' play long term. And I think that's generally true. Where you just learn from people, watching them and finding their tricks. I remember learning how to play pinball from like this one other guy at the arcade who was like who was better than me, and neither of us knew how to nudge at all. So I went through all of high school, all the way into college, age 17, and I finally encountered players who were moving the machine around. I'm just like, oh my gosh, what is this? What is this? What is this sorcery? And it completely opened my eyes to playing pinball a whole different way. But the kids who are getting better and the people who are getting better, they're seeing all of these things much more easily and much more often than they would have for someone trying to learn pinball in the 80s or 90s. And the people who eat that up the same way you like just find some crazy topic on YouTube and just start devouring everything.
Yeah.
It's like that for them. And the skill level of someone can grow exponentially in months. I shouldn't say that this year. I can't say exponentially in months. It's bad.
You know what you mean.
Oh man, might need to cut that bit, Tyson.
Oh, wow, that was good. Come on.
I did want to talk about that, like your history with pinball. You said you were playing in the 80s and 90s. You've been playing since you were a kid.
Sure.
Where did you fall in love with pinball? Where did the passion start?
The earliest I can remember playing pinball was at an underground dank bar arcade, just arcade, in Miami Beach, Florida. My dad would take me down there, and I liked how dark it was. I liked playing some of the pinball games because I could control them and see the ball more so than playing any of the video games. And then eventually I learned, I can win free games if I get good enough at this.
Yep.
So once I got good enough at pinball to get some free games, it was like, okay, let me see if I can become the best player at this arcade. And through high school, that was that. But when I got to college, I found out about the events and the leagues, and it was kind of like, oh yeah, here we go. So I started playing and going to events around freshman year in college. And in sophomore year of college, I decided to go to the World Championship mainly for the purpose of meeting more people and learning. Like it's like, okay, this Lyman Sheets, the best player in the world. I'm gonna meet Lyman, or at least watch him play, learn some of his skills, because I was just basically learning by observing and watching people. And at that World Championship Pop before, I managed to squeak by the first round of finals, out of the top 16, and I was just having a giddy time of it. I was like, I shouldn't be here. I should have been eliminated. I should be out. Why am I here? And other players are like getting nervous about the stakes for the audience or whatever. And I won. I won the World Championship in an event I did not expect to do well in at all. That was the first tournament I ever won.
That's pretty amazing.
Which is ridiculous. I mean, what is that? And probably maybe the 6th or 7th tournament I had ever entered.
That's huge.
It's very much lucky, but it also once you've done that, you're done. You're in for life. I'm gonna keep playing forever.
I feel like maybe, particularly in Brisbane, I feel like a lot of people kind of miss the opportunity to learn how to play outside of the context of competitions. So when Netherworld first opened, sort of the first big kind of pinball place here, it was a bar, and then like a month into it, the Brisbane Pinball Club kind of thing was being hosted there. So everyone had kind of played a few games and then went, all right, now it's time to get into competition. And I think, as you said, it would have been much more advantageous to just play. And that's a couple of people did that, and watching them now play competitions, the difference is huge. And I think it's I feel like a lot of people in Australia kind of miss that opportunity, to play in high school and to play in university, and
I certainly didn't know where to go to find a pinball machine.
Like I know there were a lot of private collectors, and the pinball club did exist before Netherworld did, but nowhere near to the level that it does now. I feel like, sorry, go for it.
I was gonna say access to machines is probably never gonna be resolvable as an issue. It was easier for me because there were arcades.
Yep.
And then those dried up around the time that PlayStation and Xbox started taking over the home market. So in the early 2000s, there was almost it's nothing. There was probably only 2 places to play pinball in all of the entire Boston metropolitan area, and those would have like 2 machines here and 1 machine there, and 5 really beat up machines at this other place that you don't want to go to unless you're sick of playing the ones that are good. And but that's the experience that a lot of a lot of the U.S. have with some places that people don't even have any machine within an hour drive of where they live.
Yeah, okay.
I don't know if that problem will ever be solved. It's also one of the reasons why you see very specific demographics of the people who do play a lot of pinball. It's who has the access, who has the money to buy new machines, or who has the location. Like, where do kids learn to play pinball now? They're almost all in bars.
Yeah.
So the only kids who play are the kids who have parents who play, and the parents who have machines of their own to play on. I don't know what to do about that. Maybe there's nothing we can do unless pinball takes off in some other way, and it's just meant to be like this. I don't know.
I would say, like, at least, let's say in the last 5 years in Brisbane, we have found Netherworld has opened up, of course. We've got Pincadia, which opened up. One Up has opened. We've got all these places now that have really just opened up in the last about 5 years or so.
Also Pinball House as well. Don't forget
Pinball House, yes, thank you. And now they're, created these places for people who can't afford to buy their own machines. You can go and you can have a game for $1 and whatnot. And I feel, at least, once again in Brisbane, that this scene is like snowballing. It's growing, let's say exponentially. it is growing, absolutely. Obviously the future is very uncertain at the moment, but let's go back pre-COVID. How do you see the scene growing, and what I guess would you like to see from the scene?
Well, I guess it serves me well as an employee of a pinball company to see more pinball machines, but what Spooky's doing fine. They're making the maximum number of machines we can make. I would like there to be places for kids to access pinball. And whether that's things like, we have Boys and Girls Clubs in the United States. We have YMCA. We have other places where kids go for after school programs, and we could maybe see some games placed into places like that, so that more kids can play pinball for the first time and then make a choice. So many people, like, they play pinball and they're like, oh, this is great. How come I never played this before? Well, never seen it before. And unless we build that audience of people who have not played that are starting to play, it will die out.
Yeah.
Or worse, it will always be the place for old white dudes and nobody else. Like, I don't want that. And so I try to push for changes in that, because I don't want to see that. It's selfish of me to say I don't want this to be all old white dudes, but I don't.
Yeah.
Fortunately, other people who've created leagues and opportunities for more diversity, for more women to play. I think that we need to do more in this regard. I think that it's still unbalanced, and one of the other places I see that unbalanced is in theming. Like, there are the theme appeals to the people who buy the pinball machines, and the people who buy the pinball machines are the old white dudes. So we get old white dude rock band or movie, or actually Rick and Morty is probably one of the few licenses that isn't just hitting that demographic. And maybe and Turtles and Stranger Things are good choices in that regard, as well as Hot Wheels. Yeah. So we're seeing some good push in that direction for more broad theming. I don't really know. Maybe it's not solvable, because any company choosing to pick a theme that isn't hitting that core demographic, they're risking their own lives by doing so.
Yeah.
So I see online people like, hey, Stern, why don't you do Black Panther? It's like, well, they could, but would it succeed? We don't know. Yeah. And if they're picking themes that their business relies on, of course they're going to choose themes that they know they can bank on. Why wouldn't you? That's totally what a business does. And none of the pinball industry businesses are in a place where they could say, well, we're going to take a risk on this because if this doesn't work out for us, we'll be okay. I don't think any pinball company will ever be in that position to take risks on licenses. I don't know. Maybe there are ways to convince Stern or someone else that won't be a risky choice, but I don't see that. I don't know what the answer is, but that's one of the ways that pinball could start to draw away from the theming that currently is the choice.
Do you think it's something that could be like there could be like a little bit of a compromise? Like for me anyway, I sort of saw it in a machine like Iron Maiden. Like, you know, as you said, old white dude rock band, but at the same time, that machine was so much about the artwork and the video display and that kind of stuff. Like that's what attracts people. Do you think there's something there that they could look into?
I agree. There's also, but there is at the base level. It's like someone has to decide to put their first dollar into that machine.
Yeah.
And what's going to draw that? And that artwork on Iron Maiden is spectacularly good. So maybe that draws someone. But I think if you weren't already drawn to Iron Maiden, that no matter how good that art package is, it's not going to say, oh, I want to play this Iron Maiden pinball machine. You have to either be in Iron Maiden or into pinball already. Yeah. And once they've got you, they've got you. But like that's where I think that Rick and Morty has an advantage. Like there are plenty of people who are into Rick and Morty who may not be into pinball. And we're going to draw more people into pinball.
Yeah, absolutely.
As a result of that. It also, I mean, this is pedantic, but those games will then probably earn better on location because more people come to play them, and the typical player who plays the game will be less expert because they'll be drawing a diversity of player levels.
I think the Walking Dead was definitely a machine that did that for Netherworld, at least. Like it's a pretty difficult machine, but the amount of games that got put through that in the first year of it being there was pretty ridiculous. I think it was close to like 10,000 games or something like that in under a year. Like, yeah, it was
that's
huge.
Amazing. Yeah, and that's where you look at the success of Addams Family, for example. Why was Addams Family so popular? It's a broad appeal theme.
Mm-hmm.
And it's recognizable, so someone can say, "Oh, Addams Family, cool!" Up, and off you go, and now you're into pinball. And those games still earn spectacularly, but broad themes can include things like Star Wars too. So
yeah,
I don't know. I don't know that any of these are the answers because we still don't have enough places for new players to encounter pinball other than bars.
All right, that's great. I think that's a really good place to end on. I do agree with you absolutely. I would love to see more inclusion from not just old white guys. I have a lot of old white guy friends. Yeah, would love to.
Yeah, terribly sorry.
One thing you did
mention, well, you're not old. Neither of you are old enough yet to qualify. So you're good.
Thank you. One thing you did mention, which I think we should highlight, you said that some people have been founding, especially for the women's leagues. Bells and Chimes is a good one to check out, especially if you're in Brisbane. At the moment, obviously nothing's going on, but once everything returns to normal, go check out your local Bells and Chimes tournaments and leagues and stuff. Is there anything else? Any other organizations you can throw a bone to off the top of your head?
Well, I'm always grateful to the Replay Foundation for their support in creating events like Pinburg and Pop World Championship, as well as giving me the opportunity to create the videos that are part of the tutorial series. Really, without Replay's help, there's no way I work for Spooky, because I wouldn't have built a reputation for being an expert at this. And they wouldn't have said, hey, we need somebody who can do this for us. We know you. They didn't know me. They didn't really know me. They knew me from my public reputation in the videos. So Replay Foundation is a nonprofit, and they just recently had to cancel their entire Replay FX festival. While they I know they have some plans to organize other things and to keep it going. It's it's hard for any business like that to keep going through this. And Replay Foundation does accept donations of cash as well as machines, because as Pinburg grows, the number of machines necessary to run the event grows as well, to the point where it was nearly 400 machines.
Wow.
In the tournament last year. I know it's ridiculous, right? But that's how many machines. There was 385 machines, something like that had to be prepared and ready for competition.
I'm not sure there are 400 different machines in Australia.
Yeah. Beautiful. And where can people find you? We've talked about the YouTube channel. Do we just search Papa TV?
Sure. The YouTube channel is called Papa Pinball. I'm on the Twitters and the Facebooks and the emails, the nets, the worlds. I don't know. Yeah. Anybody wants to track me down, go ahead.
Yeah.
I will. I'm eager to talk to people. I think that sometimes people are like, oh, I shouldn't talk to him because he's busy or he's important somehow. No, I'm another pinball player. So I really enjoy talking to people about their experiences in playing. I really enjoy talking to people about game strategy. There's pretty much no pinball conversation you can have with me that I'll object to, other than the other one that says, I think pinball should be only for old white dudes.
You must make no effort to include anyone else.
Oh, there's some of that going around right now. It's great. It's wonderful.
Yeah. Well, thanks so much for what you do for the community. As we said, your tutorials have helped countless people in the community. Just being the kind of person who's approachable is great for the community, and reaching out to the foundations and whatnot. I want to thank you so much for that, and I want to thank you again for your time and talking to us today. Vinny, do you have anything you wanted to say? Do you want to plug anything?
Just thank you. No, I got nothing to plug over here. But yeah, thank you so much for your time today, Bowen. It's it's been really, really cool to hear you speak honestly about the pinball scene and stuff as well.
Oh, thanks, Tyson. Thanks, Vinny. It's been a really good chance to catch up, and I've probably talked less pinball this year than ever before. At least not since I was a kid, because there's just less of it right now, and it's been great to catch up with you. I hope to see you again very soon.
Yeah, hopefully sometime in the near future we'll do one of these in person. Beautiful. Awesome. Thanks, man. I'm gonna finish it up there. If anyone wants to follow PARtv on Facebook, you can just search PARtv. There's a page there. We also have an Instagram and a Twitter. You can search PARtv as well, but also go and give BPAC a like on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all that stuff. Awesome.
And Twitch. Don't forget Twitch.
Twitch, of course, yeah, and the Twitch.
Yeah, I've seen you guys on Thursdays a few times. Yeah. Like I'll be up late Wednesday and go like, oh, they're on, and Thursday morning from Netherworld.
It actually always gives me a kick when I see you check in and say, hey, and I'm playing terribly.
Yeah, I think you dropped in on a TNA game. We were playing some co-op games, and I managed to. What's that?
Was that when I was in the Godzilla suit?
I think so. Yeah, I think that was. I managed to pull off your short plunge and then bash the side of the machine to catch on the right hand side. I don't think I've ever felt more satisfied with anything I've ever done in pinball. I was just like, yes, I got to do that while Bowen was watching. That's awesome.
That's the good stuff. Hurts though.
It does, yeah. And considering how many times I have to plunge because I'm constantly losing the ball, I get a really sore hand after that.
You're constantly locking the ball. Just say I'm constantly getting locks, and that means.
Oh yeah, that's it. Yeah.
All right, we're gonna say
thanks again, mate.
Thanks everybody.
All right.
Cheers.
Great hanging out with you.